Last year at Total Pro Sports, we ran a list of 10 NFL players who were probably on Santa Claus's naughty list in 2019. We were never able to confirm whether or not those 10 players actually received coal for Christmas. Unfortunately for several NFL coaches, owners, and players, Santa has already made his list for 2020, and he checked it twice. He knows he's been naughty and nice, and these 10 NFLers are probably on this year's naughty list. Number 10. Earl Thomas. It only took 1 year for the Baltimore Ravens to tear up the 4-year, $55 million contract they handed perennial Pro Bowl safety Earl Thomas in 2019. Thomas enjoyed a strong 2019 season in Baltimore, helping them achieve the NFL's best record at 14-2. But his performance on the field was marred by a strained relationship with Baltimore coaches and players. The breaking point came during an August practice with the regular season less than a month away. The Ravens sent Thomas home after he punched teammate and fellow safety Chuck Clark in practice. That's when reports began to surface that he wasn't liked or wanted by the club's leadership council. Thomas took to Instagram to explain his actions, but the Ravens wouldn't have any of it. They decided to release the future Hall of Famer, citing personal conduct that has adversely affected the Baltimore Ravens in a statement. Thomas went unsigned through the 2020 season, so I guess you could say he's currently on the naughty list of all 32 NFL teams, as well as Santa's. Number 9. Tom Brady. There's a case to be made that TB12 belongs on the naughty list for simply breaking the hearts of millions of New England Patriots fans. But we aren't placing Brady on the list for deciding to begin a new chapter with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He simply did what was best for him and his family. Rather, Brady is on this list due to some arrogance and failure to follow some strict COVID-19 related rules. 1 month after Brady signed with the Bucs, a Tampa Bay city worker caught him working out in a park that was closed due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. City parks were closed amid Florida's stay-at-home order. Look, we don't care if you're Tom Brady. You're not above the rules, especially health-related ones during a pandemic. Then in June, Brady and several of his new teammates ran an organized workout in Tampa Bay. He posted it on Instagram with Franklin D. Roosevelt's quote, "Only thing we have to fear is fear itself." That was after the NFLPA recommended that players stop all private workouts, and several people at Tampa Bay's facility had tested positive for COVID-19. To us, that's putting your ego before everything and everyone else. And that right there is enough to land you on Santa's naughty list. Sorry, Tom. Number 8. Jerry Jones. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones will never admit that he's the main reason for this team's inability to end a quarter-century and counting Super Bowl drought. Well, he's not protected from being excluded on Santa's naughty list. Several offseason miscues placed Jerry on this list. He whiffed big time by refusing to pay quarterback Dak Prescott. Instead, he dared his franchise quarterback to go out there and risk his body on a 1-year franchise tag. And wouldn't you know it, Prescott suffered a gruesome season-ending ankle injury in Week 5, and the Cowboys unraveled without him. So now, in addition to a lack of trust in Jerry, Dak also holds all the leverage in their upcoming negotiation. Not to mention that Jerry struck out on the Mike McCarthy hiring. Yikes. Wasn't he supposed to be an upgrade over Jason Garrett, whom Jones inexplicably kept for 10 years? The Grinch stole Christmas, they said. Well, Jones' arrogance and poor personnel decisions have stolen the hopes and dreams of another Super Bowl for Cowboys fans. When will you learn, Jerry? When will you learn? Number 7. Vic Beasley. Looking to bolster their pass rush, the Tennessee Titans signed former Atlanta Falcons Pro Bowl linebacker Vic Beasley to a 1-year contract worth $9.5 million. That turned out to be one giant waste of money, but Beasley's tenure in the Music City was rocky from the get-go. He skipped COVID-19 testing during the offseason without issuing a reason or warning, and the team hadn't heard from him.
I don't think I'm gonna go anymore.
You're just not gonna go?
Yeah,
Won't you get fired?
I don't know.
He collected $500,000 in fines after showing up 10 days late for training camp, and Beasley's absence was reported to be unexcused, which added more confusion to this entire saga. Beasley was ineffective and recorded 0 sacks in 5 games as a Titan. The team released him in November, and GM Jim Robinson expressed frustration that it didn't work out. The Titans gave him an opportunity that he was never really interested in taking advantage of. So, naughty list it is. Number 6. Isaiah Wilson. Beasley wasn't the only Titans player that was in the spotlight for the wrong reasons. Offensive tackle Isaiah Wilson, the 29th overall selection in the 2020 draft, endured multiple off-the-field incidents in his rookie year. During training camp, Wilson was caught at a Tennessee State University party. The amount of party guests wasn't revealed, but the NFL had a strict ban on attending gatherings of more than 15 people. There was also a no visitors policy that was violated at the party. It was later reported that Wilson considered jumping from a second-floor balcony to escape the situation, and unfortunately, this wasn't the end of Wilson's off-the-field issues. 3 days before the Titans season opener against the Denver Broncos, Wilson was arrested for a DUI after hitting a concrete wall. A week after making his NFL debut against the Indianapolis Colts in Week 12, Wilson was suspended by the Titans for violating team rules. Further details weren't specified. So here's hoping Wilson can put these incidents behind him and grow into a valuable part of the Titans' future. This was a forgettable rookie year, to say the least. Number 5. Jon Bostick. The Washington linebacker somehow avoided a suspension for his vicious hit on Cowboys quarterback Andy Dalton. It was, unquestionably, one of the dirtiest and most unnecessary hits we've seen all year. The hit took place in the third quarter of their Week 7 game. Dalton gave himself up and slid well short of the first down marker, but it didn't stop Bostick from delivering a brutal cheap shot to the head of the Red Rifle. Bostick was rightfully ejected from the game, and Dalton had to leave due to a concussion. Though Bostick avoided a suspension, and we have no idea how or why, he was fined $12,000. Bostick doesn't exactly have a reputation for being a dirty player or anything, but that hit was totally uncool. It's the type the NFL wants to avoid, and that cheap shot easily landed him on Santa's naughty list. Number 4. Denver Broncos 4 quarterbacks. Some carelessness by the Denver Broncos cost them dearly, to say the very least. Backup quarterback Jeff Driscoll tested positive for COVID-19 before the team's Week 12 home game against the New Orleans Saints. Well, Drew Lock and backups Blake Bortles and Brett Rippon were also ineligible to play because they were deemed close contacts to Driscoll. Those three failed to follow the NFL's mandatory COVID-19 mask policy. They did it to themselves, and the league refused to reschedule the game, so practice squad wide receiver Kendall Hinton, who had some QB experience at Wake Forest, was named the starter. Well, the Saints and their stout defense had a field day against the Broncos, who stood absolutely zero chance in this one. Hinton completed 1 of 9 pass attempts, and Denver mustered just 112 yards of offense in a 31-3 loss. The league's COVID-19 protocols and mask policies are clear as day, and the Broncos quarterbacks were so reckless to the point where they basically gifted New Orleans an easy win. That carelessness lands Rippon, Driscoll, Locke, and Bortles on the list. Number 3. Will Fuller. Injuries prevented Fuller from reaching his full potential through his first 4 seasons, but it finally came together in 2020 until it didn't. In 11 games this season, Fuller set career highs across the board. 53 receptions for 879 yards and 8 touchdowns, emerging as Deshaun Watson's go-to receiver. But Fuller's breakout season ended on November 30th when he was handed a 6-game suspension for violating the NFL's PEDs policy. Fuller owned up to it, apologized, and accepted the suspension, which will force him to miss the remainder of 2020 and Week 1 of the 2021 season. Fuller let himself down in his contract year, and it could affect his free agent value. He also let the Texans down as they began to figure out the offense in the post-Bill O'Brien era. Fuller will be back and probably better than ever in 2021, but his suspension lands him on Santa's naughty list in 2020. Number 2. Jon Gruden, the only head coach to appear on our list, and rightfully so. Early in the 2020 season, Gruden revealed that he had COVID-19 in July, so you'd like to think that he, of all people, would closely follow the NFL's COVID-19 protocols, but nope. Several Raiders players, including Darren Waller and Derek Carr, were fined for failing to wear masks at a public charity event. Waller received the largest fine at $30,000. It was also reported that more than 100 people were at the event, even though the state of Nevada had a strict limit of 50. Gruden and the Raiders also received multiple fines for breaking COVID-19 protocols, and they were forced to forfeit their 2021 6th-round pick. They included Gruden's failure to comply with the mask rules in their Week 2 home game against the Saints. The fines added up to over $1 million, and this is from a team coached by a guy who was infected by the coronavirus. So for that, John, you're on the naughty list. Number 1. Sean Williams. The Cincinnati Bengals-Miami Dolphins Week 13 matchup was highlighted by several cheap shots and an all-out brawl. We had Mike Thomas of the Bengals deliver 2 questionable hits to Dolphins return man Jakeem Grant. The second one prompting Miami head coach Brian Flores to come onto the field and scream at the Cincinnati sideline. But Bengals safety Sean Williams was the one who probably caught the eye of Santa the most. Late in the second quarter, Williams intentionally stomped on the leg of Miami offensive lineman Solomon Kindley, who was dealing with a foot injury. Williams was later ejected along with Devontae Parker and Mac Hollins of the Dolphins, following the fourth quarter brawl. The NFL later handed Williams a 1-game suspension for the stomp on Kindley. He appealed the suspension, but the league upheld it. For clearly targeting an injured player's leg and for getting in the middle of a heated brawl, Williams most certainly landed on Santa's naughty list. A big bag of coal awaits. But hey, what other NFLers are probably on Santa's naughty list in 2020? Join us in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton, and hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.